Okay. Yes, the video can hear you, so let's listen up. You need to write at the top of your paper, Macromolecules. That is the title of these notes. So write these right now. Would you like a piece of paper?
Can I have a piece of paper?
Yes.
I'm watching the video just now, so.
Yes, I'm proud of them. There you go. Anybody else need something?
They'll do.
Okay, so you are titling this paper, so those are Macromolecules. So yesterday and Friday, you were supposed to look at the Macromolecules web quest, and I realize some of you didn't and some of you did. Be that as it may, we are moving forward. So we talked about in our bell ringer, what is our favorite macromolecule? And I feel like most of us said carbs. We had bacon the other day, and my 5-year-old, he said, I used to not like bacon, but now bacon is life. And I'm like, dude, bacon is life. And bacon is a lipid, and it is my favorite lipid. So just remember that every time you eat bacon.
4 pigs in the belly.
Yep. 4 pigs. Okay, so this is what you're going to write, not this. You're going to write what's in white. So you don't have to write that CCC down at the bottom. What I'm going to tell you is what is an organic molecule. Who gets organic produce at the grocery store?
I don't know.
Do you really? So expensive. What does organic in the grocery store mean?
Not original.
Yeah, it's farm grown and there's no pesticides. So if you drive out in Richmond, I don't know, do we have that much here where there will be a sign that says like no spray zone?
I work on one down the road from me, and they have a bunch of those up the road with no spray sign, and they even because we were building some fences to keep the cows in, because they have some organic cows, horses, everything better for organic, and we actually had to stay 70 foot from the other property line.
Yeah.
That way, if they spray pesticides on their side, it don't go.
Yeah. And that's all FDA regulations in order for them to claim that it's organic. Yeah, so the animals that are organic means that they don't have antibiotics and all this kind of stuff. So sometimes what that means is that the fruit doesn't grow as big, but it also doesn't get eaten up with pesticides. So like the carrots, organic carrots, they really do taste better. They're a lot sweeter, they have more flavor. Well, if you grow them in your backyard, that's organic, right? You probably don't use pesticides and stuff. Yep. So most home gardens are pretty organic if you don't add stuff to it. However, in science, that's not what organic means. In science, if it came from a living thing, then it is organic. And if it is made with carbon, okay? And so everything that is living or once was living comes from a carbon backbone. So in science, it's a little different than in a grocery store. So organic molecules are formed by the actions of living things. So your poop is organic, right? You don't have to write this, only if you feel like you need it. Having a carbon backbone and comes from a living thing. That's what organic is. And the reason I'm not going to have you necessarily write this is because you don't need to look back on this to remember, because we're going to do some practice of this. Okay. So carbon, again, you don't need to write this. Carbon is an element on the periodic table. It's in all living things. And the reason that carbon is so organic is because it can bond to 4 things, 1 on each side, and it makes it really versatile. It's easily bonded with. So it easily bonds with hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and another carbon. That's going to be important for us down the road. All right. We already wrote this as well, so we know organic molecules, there are 4: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. You're going to be familiar with those. And we've written the word monomer, only one piece of an organic molecule. So 2 monomers, a monomer plus a monomer, is going to be an organic molecule. So we're going to learn all about those things in just a moment. I'll give you a second in case you were writing this.
I've only written with them.
It's okay. Nope. I told you had to in white, but some people started and I know they want to finish it.
Are they drinking water?
You're drinking water. Is water organic?
Yes. Depends.
Technically, it doesn't have carbon in it. It's just H2O. So technically it would have to have carbon, so water is not organic.
I think that's pretty good.
Because we need carbon. What do we know carbohydrates are made of? Carbon and water. So in order to break down our carbohydrates, build them back up, we need water. All right, this is what you have to write. You do not have to draw these figures, but you need to write these 3 points. Carbohydrates are made of CHO. Carbohydrates have a monomer called a monosaccharide. And they can have different numbers of carbon in the backbone. So you are writing this slide on a sheet of notebook paper. Are you tired? I'm sorry.
Anybody else just like dead after the day before?
Okay, this slide is in white. So you're writing these 3 points. Yeah. The background. This thing is annoying.
I didn't even the words.
Because it's buzzing? Okay, I'm going to contact somebody about it. Because that is a problem.
Do you have a broom?
I do have a broom. It's behind Ethan.
You shoot one of those water bottles, you put like mayo in, and you switch it to water and that and you drink it.
Say that again?
So it's like mayo, and you put like flavored stuff in it for water, and you twist it and turn it.
Oh, I have seen those, and it releases a certain amount. Yeah, my sister-in-law has one of those.
So if you want water, you turn it off.
Yeah.
Those are so cute.
All right, so things we need to know about carbohydrates. They're made of CH and O. Their monomer is a monosaccharide. What does saccharide mean? Sugar. Mono means one. So if we broke it down, they would be 1 sugar big. But if you build them up, there would be lots of sugars big. And you can have different numbers of carbon in the backbone. So over here we have a glycerolide. Glyceraldehyde. It has 3 carbons. This sugar is a ribose. It's in RNA. It has 5. And then you have glucose. Wait, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. Then you have glucose, which has 6. I wonder what this thing's deal is. I hate yelling, but I'll yell. You can yell all the information? Okay. All right, so we ready to keep going? You don't have to write this. All you need to know is that technically, you see how I gave you this chain? Excuse me, you two. Focus up. You see how I gave you this chain? They don't necessarily stick in chains. Sometimes they curl around and make rings. The individual rings then connect together, and that's called a polysaccharide. Poly means many. You do need to write this. Carbohydrates give us energy, and our examples are sugars, which are glucose and fructose, like fruit sugar, and starches. These are stored in our livers. I'm a big sucker for starch because I love potatoes so much. I love potato soup. I love French fries. Anything potatoes. What is it? You like sweet potatoes too? Those are good.
I like baked potatoes.
The stuff that she makes on it.
I don't like potatoes. I like fried, but I like potatoes.
If you think about it,
She said
your stomach
baked potatoes.
thinks that all potatoes are mashed.
Hash browns, bro. Oh my gosh.
All right, so starches like potatoes are stored in your liver. Sugars, yes, please. Sugars are something else to do with your liver. So people who don't have certain sugar breakdowns have trouble with breaking sugars down, and that is what leads to diabetes. So it gives you energy, but does it give you energy for a long time? No. Has anybody ever ran like a 5K?
Yeah.
Okay, what do they tell you to do before?
Stretch.
Stretch and eat what?
Water.
Food.
They usually say you need to carbo load. That means eat a lot of carbs. So, football players, they usually feed you and they'll give you spaghetti or something like that right before a game. That's carbo loading. They're trying to give you a quick burst of energy so that when you get out there, you're ready to go. However, that doesn't last. Usually, what do kids do after a birthday party?
Gatorade.
Sugar crash, right? Gatorade is a different story altogether because that's about osmosis and replenishing your salts. But kids after a birthday party of eating a lot of cake and cookies will crash. They have a sugar crash because they were really excited and hyper, and then they used up all their energy to quit. And that's what carbohydrates do for us. Ethan.
Okay, one day, I watched a movie on a book. It's called Osmosis.
Osmosis Jones. Yes,
You
yes.
had like viruses. We watch it.
No.
All right.
All right, your next one you will be writing is a lipid. They are made of CH and O. There are two parts of a glycerol. Of a lipid. It's the glycerol and the fatty acid tails. I'm going to try and draw on my screen something I want you to draw. Will it let me? Okay, so instead of drawing what's over here to the side, that's an eraser. I want a pen. Perfect. You're going to draw a circle and two tails. The circle is the glyceride, or the glycerol. The tails are the fatty acids. So, lipids made of CHO, one tail for each carbon present, so they'll have 2 or 3. Oh, sorry, Kermit. So you're writing this, made of CHO, and there are 2 parts. You're going to draw the circle, which is a glycerol, and those 2 tails are a fatty acid. So technically, lipids don't really have a monomer because they're not a lipid unless they have both the fatty acid tails and the glycerol. Where do we in our bodies have these?
Liver.
We technically have it in the liver. What else?
Everywhere.
Hand.
Literally everywhere. Because the outside of every single cell in your body is covered in these fatty acids. That's what keeps our membranes, our cell membranes, to be selectively permeable.
Is that why some people like say you eat a lot of dough and start to take at once?
They start what?
Say if you eat a lot, you start getting fat.
That has to do with metabolism.
Well, is it because those cells are anywhere that's what you fat everywhere?
They are gaining more cells, but we all have fatty acids. Everybody does. Fatty acids are not fat cells. They are on the outside of all cells. We'll go over that a little more. We have some practice assignments that will help us see what they're used for.
Yeah, but I looked at her phone before and snap.
What?
I hear your Snapchats.
I literally have.
And I just leave one delivered and you keep it
I have.
All right, let's keep going. Oh, back. All right, we're gonna go. Oh,
Oh yeah, that drawing was great.
yeah, you love it.
So my grandma would draw.
I want this to clear. Hey, excuse me, we're done with that. Okay, lipids also, they give us energy, but not as much as carbohydrates do. Sorry. They store energy. So this is when we store it as fat cells. So our examples might be fats like animal fat or our fat, oil that we use, vegetable oil, coconut oil, those things. And then also waxes, which are on the outside of plant leaves. So what do we know about oil and water?
They don't.
They don't mix. That's right. So why would we want to have wax on the outside of a plant leaf?
So it doesn't, I don't know.
Jacob?
So the water will run off of it.
Possibly, so the water won't get in through the leaves, but also
there's
so it
not
won't,
too much.
so there's not too much, but also so there's not too little, so it doesn't leave the
So
plant.
it don't drown.
Yeah. So, the main points here are 3 examples: fats, oils, and wax. And the main function is to store energy. Phone up. Thank you.
Well, that bacon looks good. So why is bacon liver?
Bacon is fat cells. You see this part right there? That's all fat. So it has other things in it,
Is it meat or?
but it's mainly fat. Yes, Sydney. Yes, go ahead.
Would you rather have red meat or fat in your bacon?
Can I go to the bathroom when she gets back?
If we have time, yes.
I guess fat it is. Okay.
What?
I said, would you rather have red meat in your bacon or fat?
Red meat?
Yeah, it's not the fat, it's the red meat.
Oh, red meat.
Bread.
Yeah.
I was like, bread doesn't have meat.
I mean, it could.
Like the color
With
of
sausage.
the meat.
I don't know. It's both
Can
good.
we do it?
I'd rather have actual meat because I hate fat. And apple smoked bacon from, I don't remember what brand it is.
All right, are we done with this?
I like the fat the most.
Okay. Proteins. Write this. Proteins are made of CHO and N, nitrogen. The monomer is called an amino acid.
I just hit my knee really hard.
Listen.
All
All right, we need to focus up here. Refocus your brains. Okay, a monomer of an amino acid, one piece is called, of a protein is called an amino acid. Amino acid has 3 parts to it. A carbon, which is in the middle. It has the amino group and the carboxyl. These are just parts of it. That's what makes up an amino acid. If you get a chain of amino acids, that's a protein. So when you hear of those protein diets or protein shakes or protein powders, and they're like, we have 20 amino acids in it, that's just telling you we got a lot of protein. Because those amino acids come together and make the protein.
Do we have to draw that thing?
Nope, you just got to write the 3 parts of an amino acid. Carbon, amino group, and carboxyl group. Okay, so we are going to be getting into amino acids and how those are produced later this semester. But all we need to know for now is that 2 amino acids together are going to make a protein. Kind of like 2 beads on a chain are going to start to make a necklace. Proteins are the workhorse. They don't necessarily give energy, but they do help build muscle. So here are some examples. Hair and nails, hormones, enzymes, and antibodies.
Oh, I thought that said
Or your mind is somewhere else.
I almost stuck a piece of paper here.
No, it's gone. My brain is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You had a brain?
Surprisingly.
We're not doing that game.
I'm not gonna make it. Wait, isn't keratin like what our nails are made of?
That's
It
right.
literally says up there.
And he's correct.
Oh, I didn't read the last
Do you
part.
need glasses?
I didn't read the last part.
All right, that's enough. Okay, so proteins. Our examples here would be such as in meat, almonds, eggs, legumes, beans. Those types of things do have a lot of protein in them, and protein is really good for replacing fat cells with muscle mass.
Are elephant tusks made out of keratin?
No, they're made out of calcium because they are bones.
I thought it was ivory.
Ivory. Oh, that's true. But it still has a lot of
So
calcium in
many
it.
elephant pieces are made of
Not anymore.
Okay.
No.
Our last one. We talked about carbohydrates, lipids, proteins. Now we're talking about nucleic acids.
Is this the last one? Oh.
They both go and the bell hasn't rung.
Don't hurry up.
Why keep looking back?
All right, nucleic acids. They are made of CHO and N and P. Ethan, go ahead.
Oh.
So N is nitrogen, P is phosphate. Just one of these things would be called a nucleotide. What does nucleo mean?
It's okay. Be here on the picture.
It's one of your vocab words. What's nucleo?
I don't know.
Wait, nucleo?
In the nucleus of the cell.
Yes, found in the nucleus. So nucleic acids are found in the nucleus. Nucleotides make up nucleic acids. And a nucleotide is made of a phosphate, a nitrogenous base, and a sugar. Do you know an example of a nucleic acid? Jonathan?
DNA.
That's right. So smart. DNA, deoxyribose nucleic acid. So when we talk about nucleic acids, we're going to be talking about your DNA. Your DNA. Like this.
Dang, I just spelled four wrong.
Do we have to write any more after this?
We're almost done.
Can I go when we get done with this?
Yeah, I'm going to let Bradley go then. Bradley, you can go.
Because I know if I miss something, I won't go back and write it down.
I'm glad you know yourself.
Just like I probably won't do week 3 vocab. Not probably. I won't. Get a robot.
Okay, so far we learned carbohydrates have CHO. The next one we did was lipids have CHO. Proteins have CHON. Nucleic acids have CHON and P. We know the monomer of a carbohydrate is a monosaccharide. We know that a lipid doesn't necessarily have a monomer. Protein's monomer is a, and protein's monomer,
Oh, no.
no, I know it. I'm trying to get you to say
You know it's
it.
bad even when teaching.
One.
Yes.
Starts with A,
A.
amino acid, thank you. And then a nucleic acid's monomer is a nucleotide. She done forgot. No, guys, I know this.
You know it's bad when teaching.
All right, you don't have to write what's in purple down here, but up here, nucleic acids, they carry the genetic code. That's what they do. Examples that we have are DNA and RNA. So this means that anytime you're eating something that was once living, you're eating its DNA, incorporating it into your body, breaking it down, and rebuilding it as your own DNA.
So I can turn into an ant if I eat like kind of
So you are technically what you eat. You are what you eat. That's what this means.
I'm a cow.
So today I'm a banana because I had a banana for breakfast. I had sugar in my coffee and cream, and I had coffee beans. Those all come from living things. And if it's not too heavily processed, so my banana, I can break down that DNA and rebuild it as my own.
Can you go back one?
Guys,
In just a second.
I'm a breakfast burrito.
I'm hating you.
What is in that breakfast burrito?
You look like a breakfast
Sausage, bacon, egg,
Sausage, bacon, egg.
tortilla wraps, and I had hot sauce.
All right, so the sausage, bacon, and egg.
And potato.
And potato. Okay, so sausage, bacon, egg. What is one of the macromolecules that would be classified in those three? Protein. Those are all proteins, right? He's right, though. They do have carbs, especially in the potatoes. You have lipids in your bacon and sausage.
And then what would the tortilla be?
What would the tortillas be?
Bread, carbs.
Bread, carbs. That's exactly right. Thank you, Morgan.
I go now.
Yes.
And then hot sauce. I'll go for it's bad. It's good.
Hot sauce has peppers and stuff in it.
Excuse you.
All right. So look up here. Something you're not going to write yet. Focus up here. Something you're not going to write yet, but you're going to learn about. Who's ever had to do this where you had to do base pairs?
Oh, that's so.
Yeah? Remember that? T to A to T. Okay. We're going to do this more next unit, but these bases of DNA, these nitrogenous bases, are made of nitrogen, and we're going to talk all about them and how we break them down into nucleotides and build them up to replicate our DNA. So, what is inorganic? Everything else. If it doesn't have CHO in it, then it is inorganic.
Wood.
If it comes from wood. Wood comes from
Steel.
steel, metals, rocks.
Where does metals come from?
Metals just come from in the earth.
Yeah, but like, can I
Iron.
walk through the middle of wood and find an iron vein? Like,
Not quite, but think about coal fields or deep in the earth. We mine those kinds of things. Okay, tomorrow let me think. I'm going to pass out another paper we're going to finish tomorrow, but I do want to get it in our notebooks. So we are going to fill in this table.